Hey gang, this is Jeff from Muscle Cars and Hot Rods, and on this episode we got our stuff back from the walnut sheller, and we're going to take a quicker look at all the parts for the 66 Chevy Nova, so check it out. Then we'll take a quick look at putting the door skin on our right door to the project, and we'll take a look at the results of metal prepping on the deck lid. For those of you who are new to the program, I've been restoring cars for Photo Finish of Tucson for the past 10 years, and I'm going to try and do 90% of the work to this 66 Nova right here in my home garage. So I'd like to share some of the techniques that you guys use and some of the insight that I use being in the shop to see what it takes to get one of these projects done at home using your average run-of-the-mill small compressor, hand tools, 110 welders, you name it. So any insight you guys can add and anything I can add to it, maybe we'll get some better projects out of this. Alright gang, we're out of focus here. This is the media blasters. I have all my exterior skins walnut shelled and all my interior sandblasted, like jams and stuff. It's cheaper that way. Kroyos sandblasting. Back from the walnut shellers, here's what we look like. We got the deck lid over here. Like I explained, the walnut shelling doesn't touch the doesn't really touch the rust, but we sand that out and we'll get it metal prepped. A little bit of damage right here we found. So that should be an easy repair, but before I final it out, I'll get the metal back to where it goes, but before I final it out, I'll make sure I get the piece of trim that goes here so that everything looks nice and flush. Now it is important to note that when you have the backside of anything sandblasted, that the backside of the outer skin is just as vulnerable as the outside. So you never want to have the backside of a hood walnut shelled. When you get the backside of a door done, make sure that they're not getting into where the skin is, and the same goes for the deck lid. Deck lid's probably more important than the doors because the doors have a little bit more structural strength to them. So yeah, there's that note. Over here, walnut shell on the replacement door. Everything looks good. Just a couple of dents like in here, over here. You know, your basic stuff. We have to weld up all our holes. I've said that about 1,000,000 times. Like I'm reminding myself or something. The surprise on this one was I cannot believe that I didn't even look at the inside of this. Someone got after it with a saw to put a speaker in. I've been guilty of it, and I don't like seeing it. Luckily we still have the original door over here, and we'll be able to do a section replace to give us some strength because our hinge is right here. Of course, this is a door that's getting replaced, and here's why. All crunched up pretty good there. Let's see, just completely smacked there, just in rough shape. All up and through here, which I'm assuming is a common problem on these cars. It's just completely broken away here. Even so much as to split it inside here. Looks like someone did a quick repair right through there with a welder, and you know, there it is. So on to the one that we're putting a skin on. We had a couple little rust patches to get to right here, but this shell was completely sandblasted inside and out, and what you're looking at now is I've gone ahead and mixed up some epoxy and I've brushed it in here just to give it a cheap insurance. Chevy never did it from the factory, but we got the skin off it. We got a couple of minutes extra time, we went ahead and did it right up into the edge. All epoxy primed. I've set this on the shell, the new skin, a few times. Everything's looking pretty good as far as fit. Of course, you never know until you get it on the car. The one thing that's weird is this corner doesn't seem to line up too well with the shell yet, so we'll see how that goes. Also on this door, it's cracked, so this is why I'm assuming it's a fairly common problem. The section of rust that I didn't really see before blasting is right through here. And as metal rusts, it tends to get flaky and separate, and so maybe I can get a view of how it's just kind of lifted it all up. One of the reasons I suspect after doing I don't know how many muscle cars, one of the things that I suspect causes a lot of issues is seam sealer used to be used on bare metal back in the production lines, and I see it time and time again, and it just seems to be that's what not having an epoxy primer down or an etching primer or something to protect the metal, it's just always caused issues. So today when we restore cars, we put the seam sealer on the vehicles as the last thing before paint. We don't put a lot of high build dry sand primer on it because it will flake and crack. So your car's in final prime, you're ready to start jam painting it and getting it done. That's usually when the seam sealers go on these days, at least for me. Over here, I'll get to real quick, I was talking about, I seem to have a pretty decent fit all the way through. I still have to break out my little handheld sandblaster and clean all this up. I seem to have a pretty decent fit on the skin all the way around the structure. Still got to get that piece of brass out, with the exception of right here seems to be a larger gap, and I know that's going to be a critical issue once it's on the car, so I might shy away from actually hammering that over until we get the car here and get it fit. We're on our door skin, and we've gone through, we've sandblasted our edges, and I can't see over there, so with this guy, it works over. I kind of like the speed blaster, the little top feeder blaster better. And now, I placed a few clamps, got the door skin sitting where we want it, and I'm going to go ahead and begin by taking a dolly, setting it on the inside, and banging over the flange. Here is a door skinning tool that I've never used before. I didn't quite trust it to do the initial 45 folds on the thing, but I am going to see how nice of a consistent pinch it can give me. I basically set it on the skin, tightened it up. I'm running a 3/8 inch ratchet on it, and I'm just slowly going out, and it appears to be making a nice, smooth, consistent, and sharp bend. Here, let's get a look at that up close. You're on the tripod here. Nice and consistent. I'd like to get good at that and maybe not even use the hammer and dolly. And here is the door skin all on the door. Now, just because we got it on the door does not mean that we are done. We're going to go ahead and get it tacked into place so that it doesn't pop off, and we're going to get it set on the door for fit. And then I noticed it's fairly wavy, and I'm not talking just about where I hammered it. So, overall it's a much better piece, and will provide a much better repair. Okay, on the deck lid, I've gone ahead and sanded it down with 80 grit on the DA, and I was using an electrical DA. Like I was talking, I don't have a big CFM compressor here at home, so I can't use the DA that I would choose to use if I were down at the shop, but an electric DA in this circumstance to knock down surface rust does a good job. And you can see that we're starting to get it treated. So, looks like we're going to have probably at least one more application on this deck lid. And just because I was asked on this particular job, this is the metal prep that I'm using. This is a phosphoric acid. I've also used SEM brand's rust mort. Find that works pretty good. And I've used Napa or Martin Senior's triple etch, and what was the other one? Metal prep, whatever that is. Notice we keep all our chemicals in a flame-proof cabinet. It's not the prettiest looking thing, but it keeps the flammables safe. Alright, so our skin's fully on, and over here on our left door we're all welded up along here, and our cracks and whatnot throughout. Last thing we'll have to do is weld up the rust repair on the bottom, but I still have to make a rust patch for that. So there's nothing worse than doing a nice job of welding and getting no warpage, but then going ahead and screwing it up on grinding. So first of all, I'd like to take a second to thank YouTube user Sanchez, Henry Sanchez, Sanchez I should say. He helped me with a technique that's working out really good for me, and that is to let the welds naturally cool. I used to blow them down real quick with compressed air, but that was causing the metal to shrink around them. Thank God also that we had these body lines here down the center of the door, because you don't want to be welding out in the center of a door like that. So now we're going to switch over to grinding. Like I said, there's nothing worse than getting the welds good and going ahead and grinding your welds down and heating the panel up and warping it all to heck. What I like to use are both this guy and the little guy when I'm at work, but can't do that here because that compressor isn't going to keep up with it. So I switched over to the angle grinder, and I'm having good luck with the flap discs, but I also, you know, this is a 30, oh, this is a 24, even more aggressive. I also like these with the 50 on there as well, and they seem to be doing a good job for me. I don't use the stone because once that metal turns blue, it's over with. You've warped it, you've got the metal too thin. I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you like the series, go ahead and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.